Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We just want to say thank you for all the love and support we got from last episode. Last episode was our highest rated episode ever, and a lot of love on TikTok. So thank you very much for all our new subscribers and followers. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big Red Zone, or at our social medias at Big Red Zone on Instagram, at Big Red Zone 1 on Twitter. So thank you very much, and this is the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. It's Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by my good friend James, producer John.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest today, minor league pitcher Jake Fishman. How you doing today, Jake?
Doing well. Thank you guys for having me on.
It's always a pleasure to see Jake. Jake and I have known each other for quite a while, back at his time with the Brockton Rox. And he has just risen up the ranks. Is that right? Rose up the ranks of the minor league system for the Blue Jays. He is currently, where are you at now? You're at
Last year's in Double A. Yep.
Double A, and where do they play? In
New Hampshire, the Eastern League.
Eastern League. So, and Jake has also had some experience with Triple A. He had a great career for his college, and he's a local guy, and hopefully will be with the big league club soon. So, welcome to the podcast, Jake.
Thank you.
So, we want to start off. We just want to talk about like your experience in college for the viewers, for the listeners. Why don't you tell us about like where you went and your career there in college?
For sure. So I went to Union College. That's in Schenectady, New York. It's a Division III school, and they're in the Liberty League. And so I had a different college experience, I think, than most minor league baseball players. You know, most of the guys go to a D1 school, and you know that's what they've been doing their whole life. But the D3 experience is a bit different because the big focus is on academics. You know, it's an academics first, baseball second type of environment. So you have to take it upon yourself to put your own work into baseball and the strengthening, conditioning, and kind of, learning as you go and figuring out how to get to the next level.
What was, because you guys have, from what I understand, because I have a couple friends who played for Bridgewater for their baseball team. They have a fall season, right, and a spring, like the main season in the spring. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like basically, because baseball, many people just think it's like just in the spring, but it's really like almost like a year-round sport. So kind of.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we have 16 practices in the fall. That's what the NCAA allows. That's the limit, and you're allowed to have one scrimmage in the fall. So the fall demands aren't as high as the winter leading up to the season, and then eventually the season, where we would play 4 games in a weekend, 2 doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday. And that's a lot of baseball in 2 days. So I would end up pitching the first game, and then I would play the field, usually first base, for the rest of the weekend. And we would also have some midweek games, usually 1 or 2. And yeah, that was kind of it. The demand compared to a Division I program probably wasn't as great, which, I liked that. I liked that we weren't required to be at practice for like 4 hours a day. But, I like to be well-rounded. I like to do other things other than baseball. So it fit with me very well.
Now, you would play 2 doubleheaders in the weekend, right? So would you play at some points 5 games during the week, or would it be something?
Yeah.
Really?
It would. Yeah. So at the end of that last game on Sunday, the 4th game of the 2 doubleheaders, everybody, it's just who can mess up less. And, it's a struggle, but yeah, sometimes we play 6 games in 1 week.
That's a lot. That's crazy, especially as like for pitchers. It's like your arms must be done by Sunday, especially the starting guys.
Yeah.
And through your college experience, you played the summer baseball, which is like a common thing. Like a lot of college players play in all different leagues. There's the Cape League, Northwoods, there's NECBL, and then the Futures League, which is what the Rox are in. And that's where Jake and I met. Can you tell us a little about your experience with the Brockton Rox and positive, negatives, whatever great stories you have from that?
For me, I loved it. It was close to my house. So that made the summers awesome. Other guys were, very far away from their homes. So I had the chance to live at home, not far away from the field, and play against really good competition. I was just really excited to be there because everybody was basically Division I, some D2, and a couple other D3 guys. But I was excited to face the new competition. I spent 2 summers there. So my second summer, I felt a lot more confident in the fact that I knew exactly what to expect. I understood at that point that I could compete against those same guys. And the Futures League really led me to believe that I could compete at the next level because I was facing all these Division I guys, and I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of doing pretty well. It's kind of working out. So that's really what, gave me the belief in myself that I could make it to the next level.
Yeah. You had a really good couple summers because you played there 2 years, right? 2 summers, right?
Yep.
So, and you had 2 great summers for your ERA was good. You had good, it was impressive. And especially, like you said, to go against all these D1 players, that's awesome. That's got, especially coming from, you're going against guys that are in the College World Series and Vanderbilt and stuff like that. That's must have been unreal. Have you played with the connections you made in Brockton? We talked about this last week on the podcast with basketball, and baseball is even more it's like a mini community. You meet people all over the place, and then you're meet them down the road. Have you any of those connections you made in Brockton translated to where you are now? Do you play against some of the guys you play, any teammates or whatever?
I haven't. So I don't think I've played with any of the teammates on the Brockton teams, although a lot of them ended up to getting drafted and going on and playing minor league baseball. I've run into Billy Endress. And that's really it. I've stayed in contact a lot with Robbie Corsell, who was with the Pirates for a little bit. And that's really it. I haven't seen anybody else since.
And how is there any fun memories from that summer? I mean, there's probably a ton for you because especially a college kid playing baseball all summer, and it really is like a minor league team with the Brockton Rox. They run it like a professional organization, baseball. Any fond memories from those summers? Or
off the top of my head, I can't remember much, but I just remember being really happy to be there. The team atmosphere was really fun. There's in the minors, things can get stressful at times because it becomes your job, and it's not, it's not just about winning anymore. It's money and politics involved and stuff like that. But it's just so much fun to be in it together. You're just having fun. It's summer ball. It's relaxed, and the camaraderie was just awesome.
And who was the manager back then? I forget who. I'm trying to think back. There's so many.
I'm blanking on his name. He coached in Florida. I gotta look it up.
Safarsky?
Yeah.
Safarsky. He was there both years.
It was him, and the other one was the Harvard coach.
You were there with Starkey?
Yeah, Starkey.
Yeah, he was. And both of those guys were a lot of fun. Starkey's was probably more outgoing. I think I remember him being more outgoing as a coach, but both of them had you guys it looked like a blast from being in that atmosphere every day. It was just a lot of fun, and it was a great group of guys. That
exactly.
Second year you had were there was Safarski, that was like an unbelievable year. I think everyone said around there, like played through that time. That was like the best year to play for that team. Just everything from top of the organization down. It was a lot of fun.
Seriously. And we're playing really well too. That always helps.
Yeah, you guys had a great season that year.
Yeah.
Real quick, who was your favorite Brockton Rox employee?
Ooh.
There's only one correct answer.
Gotta go with Steve.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
But if I don't say Kate, she'll probably kill me.
I know. I haven't talked to Kate in a while. She was coaching soccer for a while, but after playing for the Ross, you played there. What year of your college was it?
My freshman and sophomore year.
Did you go play? You played after that in another league, right?
I went on to play in the Cape League my junior summer, and I was only there for probably about 10 days, but just because of the draft. But that was incredible. It was like, wow, this, the level of baseball in the Cape is really good, and the coaching staff was unbelievable as well.
Yeah. And that kind of ties in with what you were talking about with the Futures League, like kind of giving you that confidence to go into minor league baseball. I bet that was just like the shot in the arm because you got drafted that year, right? Is that what you were saying?
Right.
You got drafted 10 days in. So that was probably like, all right, let's go. And getting drafted probably helps that too. Helps that too.
Yeah.
And talk to us about that. Getting drafted. That's like once in a lifetime. Like that's like the best feeling. It's got to be like an awesome time in your life.
It's definitely incredible. It's such an overwhelming memory and feelings like while it's happening. And it's kind of funny, I talk about like the confidence factor and how I was so confident going into pro ball. And then my first season was just awful. I got my ass handed to me. And it's just there's a culture shock that happens. You're playing now with all these young Latin American players that have a different playing style that you're not used to. And I was just like, I don't know how to pitch anymore. Like, I don't know what's good. I'm in, the summer of Florida, which is horrible. It's miserable. Like the humidity and the heat, it's just a completely new playing conditions. So when I first got there, it was really tough to adjust. And finally, one day something clicked, and it was, from then on, it was smooth sailing.
And Florida, that's where rookie season takes place, right? That I've heard is like from my time with Pawtucket, like talking to guys and talking to like some of like the clubhouse guys that come through. That's a grind. Even like the rookie season that not a lot of people hear about, like that's a grind of a season. It's like every day. You don't get many off days in there, and it's just like it's like you said, hot conditions, humid conditions for like it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, you play it at noon every day. They pick the hottest time of the day to play, and it's just it's not a very fun time to play baseball. It kind of feels like you're just playing practice games every day. And it's definitely the worst baseball environment that I've ever played in. And the other thing is nobody knows what the heck rookie ball is. I didn't know what rookie ball was until I got there. And I was like, okay, time to go to single A or whatever. Oh, you're going to rookie ball. What the heck is that? There's 7 total levels, not just 3.
Yeah, and that's something that not a lot of people, like when I talk to people about baseball, they don't realize. I say that baseball is the hardest sport to make it to the profession, like the main level. Because it's so many, like you get drafted in the NFL, you're on an NFL team or you're not, like you're on the practice squad. NBA, same thing, you have the G League, but you're still more than likely, if you get drafted, you're playing on a professional level. If you get drafted at the for an MLB team, you may take 4, 5, 10 years to make it to before you even get a chance at big league. Yeah. So it's a grind of a career, and it's a grind like every level you go up. Now,
Yep.
Could you make it I don't know this for rookies, if you're drafted, can you play at a different level, or do they mainly just send rookies to rookie ball and
Yeah, I mean
develop
they can send you wherever they want, but they usually, if they're trying to acclimate you to a new level, so like for me, I was a Division 3 guy. They usually send those people to rookie ball just to get acclimated and and new competition and everything. The rest of the people that got drafted mostly went to short season A in Vancouver. Some people went to Bluefield, which is advanced rookie, which is usually where the college guys go.
Gotcha. And from there, from your rookie season, you went. What happened after that? Where'd you go after that?
The next season, I was in Vancouver, which is the short season A.
Okay.
Well, first, so if you don't make a full season team out of spring training, they send you to extended spring training, which is just more of the miserable baseball where you're just playing practice games for the next 2.5 months. And then out of there, I went to Vancouver. I pitched really well there, and then they ended up moving me up to Lansing in low A at the end of the season.
That's awesome. That's got to be, again, like you were saying, the confidence thing, like just being able to move every level, like you're moving levels at a pretty good rate. That's got to like make you feel good about pitching, make mentally, because the baseball is such a mental game. That's got to be like mentally just a like confidence booster every time you get moved up.
100%.
And after low A, did you pitch back at go back to low A and move up the next season, or? The
next season, I started in, I actually started again in extended spring training. So they said, we don't have a spot for you right now. And I was pretty upset just because if you end in low A, you'd expect to at least go back to low A. So they technically demoted me, but it only took 12 hours from them telling me that I was that I was going to high A. So I ended up just going the next day to high A. I stayed there for the rest of the season and ended up having a really good season. I think the first month was a bit of a shocker for the talent. You see a lot more raw talent, very aggressive hitters that, if you're not very careful, they will take advantage of you. So the first month I just got taken advantage of. And then finally, after talking to the pitching coach and everybody figured it out. And then after that, the rest of the year was like really good. That's awesome. Yeah.
And then was it that year or the next year that you made it to AA, AAA? Because I remember you've been playing for New Hampshire for a couple of years, but you had a stint in Buffalo. So
right. So that year was in high A. I ended up going up to AAA for about 4 days just to help out. They were very low on arms, but regardless, it's fun to make it up to AAA and just get to experience it. And then the following year, which was last year, I spent the whole year in AA.
So how was that? That I didn't realize you jumped from high A to AAA. That must be quite a jump for you as a pitcher. Like to one day you're taking that's like 2 levels. Like that's a pretty big jump for talent and competition wise. It
is different. And it made me realize, because I only pitched once, and I was fortunate to pitch once. When they originally sent me up, it was a Sunday, or they called me in the office after the game late. It was maybe 11 p.m. and they said, "Hey, you're going to AAA at 6 a.m. the next morning. So pack your stuff and you're probably coming back, but just be ready." And they had nobody. They used all their arms. So and it was raining that day. So I got to Buffalo and they ended up telling me, they told me, "Hey, we're going to throw you until you can't pitch anymore," basically, because we have nobody. And the game got rained out. So I was a little upset. I was like, "Oh man, I'm probably not going to get to pitch now." But for whatever reason, they kept me up there for a couple extra days. And then I ended up getting in the game, did well. And that was the point where I realized that as long as you throw good pitches, it doesn't really matter who you're facing. if they're good pitches, they're going to get them out. And like, that's really all it takes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level you're at.
That's pretty amazing. Like, that's a great mentality to have, because it doesn't matter where you come from. It's like, if you just do what you do, and it doesn't matter who's on the plate or whatever sport or whatever you're doing in life, that's pretty remarkable. And
Right.
That's got to be like, D3 kids don't normally get to AAA. So that's like an unbelievable accomplishment right there. Like, that shows a lot too.
Yeah.
And it shows a lot of the D3 competition, like the talent in D3, because a lot of people don't realize some of the talent to kids that go D3 just because, whether it's looks or from colleges or money and I think some kids do like, transfer to D3s, and so you never know who's going to be there.
Definitely. Yeah. The competition there in D3 is legit. There's a lot of guys that are there for whatever reason. If it's academics or the D1 scholarship didn't work out or they transferred or whatever, there's some really good players.
And this year, preparing for this year, I know it's kind of up in the air. It's a little shaky what's going to happen. Can you talk about spring training for you because you were down in Florida, or where do you have spring training for?
We're in Florida. Yeah, Tampa.
So you were down there, obviously, for spring training. Tell me, like, how, when this all broke out, what was the vibe? Like, what was the word? Like, it must have been pretty nuts. Like,
yeah, it was weird. That's the only way you can describe it. Everything was totally normal. We could see everything kind of slowly developing. Some cases were showing up, and I remember is the day that the NBA got shut down, everybody started freaking out. Everybody was like, "Oh, we're going home. It's over." And then I think it might have been later that day, or the very next day, we got shut down, and it was just it happened so fast, and it was a scary time. We didn't know what was going to happen to us. They weren't really telling us anything. They just said, "You guys are done. Go sit in the hotel for 3 days." And we're like, well, what what? They ended up sending us home before the 3 days were up, but the MLB was saying that they wanted to quarantine us for at least 3 days so that nobody showed symptoms before they left. But it was just crazy.
It sounded like such a quick process too. Like, one moment you're like in the middle of training and getting ready for the next, like, a game or whatever. Yeah. And then they tell you, pump the brakes, you're going home. Like,
it was literally, I think I walked off the field. I had just thrown a live batting practice, and then I saw that the NBA was shut down, and then 12 hours later we're done. And it was really, really quick.
Did you hear anyone in your organization that tested positive? Because I know a couple, like I know for us with the Red Sox, there was, I don't know, we'll never know, but someone tested positive in the Red Sox organization somewhere, and Yankees obviously had someone. Was there anyone in Blue Jays camp or?
We didn't have anybody, thankfully.
Yeah.
We were also taking precautionary measures as to, to prevent spread, like all the supplement that people can use were now restricted, and you had to wear gloves and everything. So I think they did a good job of preventing any spread that would have happened, but we didn't have anybody that contracted it.
And that was pre like NBA getting shut down, right? When you started taking precautions at the beginning of the Oh, that's good. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
As an organization, that's smart. And especially, like, I don't think many people realize spring training, you've got a ton of guys in like a small area. Like, maybe especially the first couple of weeks, it's probably everyone's together, right? And then you kind of start, you have 2 locker rooms after like the first month or something. Is that right? Am I?
Yeah. Well, we have in the very beginning, there's not as many people, because just some people show up a little bit early, and then once everybody gets there, It's just a mess. It's people crammed, sharing lockers. So if one person did happen to have it, it would, every single person would end up getting it somehow. It's just that claustrophobic.
How many guys do you think you have at a given time in that? Like, how many players do you have? In
probably about 200 in spring training.
It's nuts because it's everyone from MLB to rookie, right?
Our MLB team is actually down the road, about 5 minutes away, but we still have roughly 200 minor leaguers, probably, in the minor league facility. Everybody rookie ball to AAA.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
And then you figure in clubhouse staff, coaches, trainers,
right?
Everyone in between, like all in this like tiny little room. It's like it's nuts. Like I can't imagine. And you're right. If someone did have it, it would spread.
Yep. It's over.
It is. Which I think that's probably that was the best move they could have done, is shut down early and get everyone out of there. Because it would have been, especially like you play with your buddy, like someone in the clubhouse knows someone on the other team. They go over, say hello, and they get it from them, and then it's a mess. Now, so what are you doing anything to prepare? Because right now we're kind of in limbo. We were kind of talking about this before. I know we were saying you haven't heard anything, and we've kind of just heard about the major leagues, but are you doing anything right now to prepare or?
Definitely. Trying to take advantage of the opportunity to surpass some people but it's definitely tough. I work out in my house every day. I have minimal equipment right behind me, but you just got to get creative with it. And I think the most important thing is just to stay consistent right now. You can't really just throw in the towel just because nobody's doing anything right now and you're stuck at home. And I'm sure that everybody else in the organization is doing the same exact thing. They're all working out. I'm very fortunate to have a throwing partner that was a catcher for Sharon High School, where I went to high school. And so I just play catch with him every day. And that's probably the best work that I could ever do right now, throwing bullpens to him and daily catch.
That's awesome. Like, it's especially in this time now, like you just got to be ready. They could tell you tomorrow, hey, we're going back down to Florida. We're packing bags, and you're going to be ready because you've been throwing for the last month, which is, I bet I bet some people do, but I bet not a lot of people are taking advantage of the time now.
Right.
And one other interesting thing that you told me about that I didn't actually know about you before we started talking, you have a nonprofit with a friend of yours. Can you tell us what it's called and a little bit about it?
Right. So the nonprofit is called the Men's Health Archive. And the way that it ended up starting is my best friend went to school at Tulane. It actually starts a little bit before he went to school. In high school, his uncle committed suicide, which is obviously awful. And then my friend Sam went to college at Tulane, and his best friend there also committed suicide. And so it's been a lot in his life, and he's also had some mental health issues of his own. He had a bad concussion, which a lot of people don't know, that concussions can cause mental health issues. So, and you see a lot of, older football players and hockey players that are struggling with this stuff later down the line, and they talk about it eventually, and they're like, some people are even go as far to say, I wish that I didn't play because it's so terrible now. But after his concussion, he found that there's not any resources geared towards men. And that's where the big issue comes in. The suicide rates for men versus women are crazy high. It's 75% of all suicides are men, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's a bad issue in the country that not many people know about and understand. It's mental health is a very difficult issue to understand. So basically what we do is on our website, we have a ton of resources that are geared towards men, trying to, just give them stuff that they need to help themselves. And we do interviews with people that have either struggled or have some connection to mental health, just trying to get information out there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that for?
I believe we launched in 2018 officially.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where can people find your website?
Right. People can go to menshealtharchive.com and they'll find everything there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely go check that out, because it is such a important cause, and it's definitely something that doesn't get talked about, I think, enough. And
right.
especially now where everyone's kind of cooped up and can't really get out and work, like go with some friends or whatever and work things out. It's definitely probably a trying time right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we're getting ready to wrap up a little bit here, but to end on a nice note, what's your biggest, like, your favorite memory through? I know it's probably hard. You probably have a ton, but some of your favorite memories throughout your career so far.
Man,
different
that's
player teams, different, like, is there anything that stands out to you for playing, like either summer ball or even earlier, whatever, high school or whatever?
It's tough to pick one memory. There's a lot of memories that I like. I think the one that I like the most is probably in college in 2014 when I was a freshman. We won the Liberty League, and it was the first time in like a really long time that we had won the Liberty League, and the team itself was just awesome, and the people on it that made it up, and it's probably my favorite memory of baseball.
Yeah,
just because of how fun the team was, and you can't really beat that. If you're having fun, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're winning. Winning helps; it makes it really good. But what makes it a fun season is the people that are on the team.
That's all. And hey, you don't have to limit it to one memory. You can tell anything you want. But that must be awesome as like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid coming into college, like winning your first year. That's got to be unreal feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
But we want to thank Jake for coming on. Always welcome and always great to see you. Again, you can you want to plug your website, your nonprofit, one more time for
sure. It's menshealtharchive.com. Just type it into your web address and it'll take you right there.
And you can also see Jake hopefully playing. We're hoping for Buffalo this year, but so I can maybe, if we have a season.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's a season. I guess we should root for that first. But hopefully in AAA, and maybe we'll see you up for the Blue Jays, which would be unreal. I'm rooting for you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I think that's going to take us to our last segment of the show, the People's Topic.
The People's Topic.
The People's Topic.
So we're going to turn over to producer John to give us our topics from this week. Remember, you can turn in any topics to our Instagram or Twitter. Our Instagram is @BigRedZone, and our Twitter is @BigRedZone1. So take it away, John.
We have two people's topics today. First one comes from @AKMay96. He's asking, what are the best fantasy draft rookies this year?
Best fantasy draft rookies. I'm assuming
probably NFL. Fantasy.
Well, for in general, because I just had my dynasty draft, so it was a little deeper than that. I mean, obviously you got to go Burrow. I mean, that's an obvious. I think he's going to help out immediately. I'm a big fan of I'm trying to think of this. Pull it up. The two receivers from that the Broncos got. I like them. I like CeeDee. So that's basically basically my guys.
Now, I guess it all depends on what perspective you want in terms of their best in terms of raw talent or best in terms of for their team.
I would have guessed points for it's fantasy question, right?
Fantasy, then you're gonna have to go Joe Burrow. Although I would almost say that depending on how the Cowboys perform, CD might actually you might get a lot out of him. Yeah. You really might. It all depends on what Dak Prescott does, and there's so many weapons you can throw to that CD might be open a lot of the time because they're still gonna have to throw at least single, if not possibly double on Cooper. So yeah, it's kind of so we'll see. But
are you a big fantasy football guy, Jake?
I'm not, so I wish I could input on this question, but I'm just useless on this one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. He goes Joe Burrow.
Sorry. What's the next one?
Second question from @Joseph_Celia, something like that. What Boston teams have the brightest future currently? Rank them 1 through 4.
Or probably, I'm guessing most gonna hit win a championship first. I guess
just since all the Boston teams got so shaken up in the past 1 or 2 years. I guess just look at the next couple years. Which one do you think is gonna have the most success to least success? I'm guessing so. Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots, and then rank them.
James, you want to start or Jake? We got to think. It's hard. It's a hard.
Yeah.
I'd almost have to go Bruins first. I'd probably go Bruins. Bruins, Celtics, Patriots, Red Sox. I can flip either of the last two. I'm okay with flipping either two because okay. Yeah, I think that'll be my official answer.
Jake?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Patriots do without Tom. I think they're still going to do very well. So I don't know if I'd have them at the last ranking, I don't know much about hockey, but I would definitely say that the Celtics are probably up there for me as well.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of say I'd probably go because it's tough because I think it's being shaken up. The Red Sox were shaken up losing Mookie and Price, but I honestly don't think their lineup was already one of the best in baseball already. So you lose he's probably the second best player in the league, but you still have a lot of talent behind him. So I don't think they're going to hurt. Where they're going to hurt is their pitching, which, they need some arms and maybe they have a year to figure it out. Who knows? But I'd probably go – I think the Bruins were probably – it's tough. I'll go a little change. Celtics 1, Bruins 2, Patriots 3, Red Sox 4.
I don't know anything about the Bruins either.
The Bruins were going to – I think if you go by points and, if they do this how the season ends, I think the Bruins win the cup if they don't play the season.
I'll go.
They were in first place.
I'll go Celtics, Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird.
Of course, you had to go there.
And that does it for this week's People's Topic.
Jake, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but we've had a very heated debate on this podcast on who was better, Kobe Bryant or Larry Bird. John, who has never watched a game of basketball in his life, wants to get in on this topic, but
that's great.
But again, you can reach in any time of the week if you have a topic or anything that catches your eye. Message us on our Instagram at Big Red Zone or on Twitter at Big Red Zone 1. Also, for people looking for another way to watch, we do have YouTube, which got big support on that. So you can find us Big Red Zone on YouTube and make sure you like and subscribe this video. And also TikTok. TikTok loves Big Red, I guess. The Big Red Zone. Because
TikTok popped off.
TikTok popped off this week. And thank you for listening on that too. So we want to thank Jake again for coming on this week. I know it's crazy times, and thanks for having some time to talk with us and come on the pod.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, and always thank you, James and John, for coming on. As always, be safe and have a great week, everyone.